Wow, that was a great summation there, Chris. Well, hey, go treat yourself to the last carrot cake in the fridge if you want. What a great talker. But just in case you didn't quite get that, I guess we should probably summarize what you just said. Lyrical Nanoha has been a magical girl franchise on our radar for a while, being one of the forerunners for attracting more adult males into the genre by having the titular lead fire off tactical nukes every other episode. Yeah, this franchise actually came before stuff like Symphogear and even Madoka. The director of the latter, Akiyuki Shinbo, also happened to do the first season of this. I guess he just has a thing for magical girls and guns. Though it also didn't predate Precure, it just came out the same year as the OG, specifically in the early 30s of the first season of Futari. And while Precure is, and apparently always will be, targeted at kids, Nanoha was a proper series designed for, gentlemen, with a little more ecchi and much darker stories.
覚えてほしいの。母さんを失望させないように。
Yeah, it's just a good thing that she kind of mellowed out after she became the lazy sea witch. Interestingly enough, this popular franchise started off as a bit of a joke spin-off. Yeah, Lyrical Nanoha, or more specifically, the character of Nanoha Takamachi, was originally a minor side character in the third game of a series of Arrow visual novels called Triangle Heart. She was just a little sister character who was turned into a magical girl for a fan disc, but I guess the creators, and some of the fans of the games, loved this random concept so much that it pretty much took on a life of its own. From there, the first season of the anime was greenlit, and some absolutely brilliant mind on the staff pointed out, hey, doesn't she kind of look like the RX-78 too? And they just kind of went all in with that idea and turned what was a run-of-the-mill magical girl anime into an epic space opera like Gundam. Appropriately, the fandom took to giving her the same nickname as the RX, the White Devil. And when all was said and done, something that started off as just some lighthearted bit of side content completely eclipsed the original games that actually starred Nanoha's elder siblings. There's obviously a lot more that we could talk about this franchise, and maybe one day we'll do more of an in-depth retrospective, but for now, to quickly sum it up, Nanoha is a magical girl who uses a very powerful bazooka as a weapon. She met her life partner in Fate Testarossa, who became the breakout character for her VA Nana Mizuki. They grew up together into adulthood, and now are pretty much just a straightforward lesbian couple. Along the way, they also made characters who were either references to Gundam, Super Robot Wars, or car brands. Yeah, Fate's surname comes from Ferrari. With that out of the way, and put aside some of the high-concept sci-fi stuff, why don't we take a look at some more fun spin-off material of this spin-off? Yeah, much like how this franchise got its start, they got a few spin-off titles after the third in their series. Fortunately, unlike her siblings, Nanoha has remained a major fixture, hence why her name is still in the title. However, and while I think she's had a great journey being a magical girl who actually aged into adulthood, I'm kind of more partial to the characters she ended up influencing, be it her student Subaru, or our subject for today, her daughter Vivio. Yes, during that aforementioned third series, Strikers, where Nanoha was 19, she had become both the leader of a task force and the adoptive mother of a clone of essentially the Jesus Christ of a magical world she was defending.
Oh, okay. What?
Yeah, I wouldn't be at all surprised if Precure ripped off a few things from this show. That said, unlike Elle, Vivio, along with the materials, is probably my favorite character of this franchise. I just really liked her arc, going from this helpless little babu who was put through some horrible experiments to a confident magical warrior who even embraced an aged up form that she was forced to fight her mother in. I also really liked how surprisingly chill she was over the fact that she's basically the reincarnation of a major religious figure in her world, and yet she chose to be a regular schoolgirl who occasionally took part in some MMA fights. Yeah, have I mentioned yet how awesome this franchise is? Most of these events happened in a spin-off series, Nanoha Vivid, which was a manga series that spanned 20 volumes, and mostly saw Vivio learning about her original's past, and even being descendants of people close to her. In particular, there was Einhard Stratos, who also became Fate's spiritual successor, in terms of being the mysterious girl who slowly becomes the protagonist's friend, and a little more. It also did get an anime adaptation by A1 Pictures, rather than 7 Arcs Pictures, which animated all the other series. And unfortunately, it's an incomplete anime. I'm not sure if it was bad DVD sales or A1 just wanting to work on more Sword Art Online, but Vivid only got one season that spanned about the first 31 chapters of the manga. It's a shame, as while they did make a few unnecessary cuts from the source material, it was still a pretty well animated and gripping show, as they even had just entered into a tournament arc. Though that also made where they chose to end it all the more awkward. Interestingly, a series called Vivid Strike would also be created, which acted as a sequel to the manga, which wasn't even finished at the time, but was entering into its final chapters. It focused more on a couple of new characters named Fuka and Rine and their rivalry, with Vivio acting as more of a mentor character, in spite of still being in grade school. It's actually a pretty good series on its own, and even gave Vivio a great moment to shine, but personally, I'd give it up just to see the main series get a proper anime adaptation. Alas, that likely will never happen, but fortunately, we can still enjoy the original manga, plus even more stuff that spun off from it, and hell, maybe even hope this gets an adaptation considering the success of the creator's other work. Yeah, I already kind of liked Vivio, but I think what really put over the top for me was some fan material that eventually became official works. Yeah, we've talked about Doujinshi or fan-made manga in the past, but we haven't really talked about how it's acted as a good stepping stone for many authors to become fully serialized in official works. That was the case for one of my favorite authors, Neko Tofu of the Grimpy Doujinshi Circle. He started off doing a bunch of comedic takes on magical girl series like Madoka and Nanoha. I really like his work, as even though he tends to reuse a lot of the same faces over and over, he makes them expressive enough that they can maximize the laughs, especially through some of the more insane and risque situations he puts the characters in. Kadokawa, the license holders of Nanoha, recognized his work, and after letting him do some anthology stories for their a la carte book, they gave him a series of his own that we're gonna cover for next time. For now, we'll just start wrapping up this video by talking about one of his other series that actually became one of my favorite anime of last year. Oni-chan wa Oshimai, or Onimai, is a manga series about a middle-aged dude named Mahiro who gets turned into a loli after his little sister Mihai couldn't stand the fact that her brother was a worthless NEET. As a result, he was often mistaken as Mihai's little sister and was forced to adapt to his new lifestyle by doing stuff like going back to middle school, even though he was at least a college dropout. Hilarity would ensue, especially when interacting with his new middle school friends. All the while, he tried to keep it a secret that he used to have certain appendages that sometimes would sneak back out. And yeah, obviously a manga like this doesn't really have anything to do with the Nanoha franchise at large. It's just a fun little gag manga that somehow got one of the most well-animated adaptations of recent memory. Like seriously, they did not need to go this hard with the sakuga of the lowly NEET gaming like all hell, but it's appreciated. That said, Neko Tofu would take a few things from this manga and adapt it into his own fully original work. What do I mean by this? Well, come back next time when hopefully we'll have something done in advance before I have to go on a trip with the family. And until then though, farewell for now my friends, and oh, hey dude, what's up? Oh really? Well, okay, but you're buying drinks tonight.